Today we're going to be taking a look at the Taurus G2c. The Taurus G2c is a cheap subcompact from Taurus out of Brazil. The G2c is an older model. They have the G3c now. There's a couple differences between the 2C and the 3C. The 3C has metal sights from the factory. The 3C has a different coating on the slide. You can see this one's got a little bit of rust on it from one time when I left it in a bag on a rainy day. The 3C also has serrations on the front of the slide and a little bit different profile of the grip and a flat shoe trigger. Now, if you have a 2C, you can make these similar to the 3C. For example, I put metal sights on this one from Lakeline. I also have the barrel from Lakeline that's comped. Don't really need that, but can't really help but tinker with some of these things. In terms of what's interchangeable, a lot of the parts on the 2C and the 3C are interchangeable. Mags, for example, will fit either one. Also, fun fact, the SIG P226 mags will actually fit this gun. So why is that possible? Not sure, but Taurus used the same mag profile as the 226 apparently. This is a double action pistol, a little bit odd. You don't see that with the Glocks and other popular subcompacts. Haven't really needed that feature, but it is there, so worth knowing. One thing I would like to say about this gun is I've shot about every kind of crappy ammunition through it. For example, right now we're using some Blazer aluminum case stuff. I think I've shot every cheap and different sort of brand of ammo through this gun over the years. And oddly enough, this gun has never failed to fire. It's never failed to eject a case. It's never stovepiped one. So that's one thing that's going in its favor. So if you can't afford or you don't want to spend the $500–600 on the Glock or a SIG or Springfield or one of the other popular subcompacts out there, these options are out there with the 3C now for around $270. So we're going to go ahead and shoot this today and see how it goes. All right, let's walk up there and take a look. All right, so we switched ammos. Was aiming generally in this area. Was hitting a little low for me. Once I started to get a group down here, I kind of just aimed for the same spot and see how it was going to group as opposed to correcting it. Did get two that flew out a little bit higher, but looking okay. I mean, it grouped roughly within, I don't know, I'd say that's 5 inches. We'll put one more mag through it. And all right, so we got a little bit of a mixed bag here. That's half brass case Blazer, and then I think at the end we got 2 of the aluminum case Blazer rounds. They're all 115 grain ball ammo, so about the cheapest crap out there. So we'll see how it shoots. All right, see how we did that time. So corrected my aiming a little bit there, brought them all into the A zone. We had a couple that fell out. I believe that was from this magazine, and so was that one, but generally put them all in the A zone that time. So after correcting for the aim and moving my hold over a little bit, looks like we got them all in the A, and turned out pretty good for this little cheap pistol. All right, about 20 to 22 yards downrange, we found a little red fire extinguisher thing that somebody left out here. We're going to try to hit that. I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. I struggle with this thing on skinny targets like that once we start to get out to the 20-ish or so yard range. One other thing to note, I noticed that with this gun when I take it to an actual range and shoot paper targets. If I shoot this side by side with like a Glock 19X or SIG M17 or any of the other Glocks, I do quite a bit better in terms of grouping with the Glocks than I do with this, especially once you get out to 20-some yards. But being a subcompact, it's probably mostly designed for those engagements or scenarios within 5 to 10 to 15 yard range. So we're going to give this a try here, see if I can actually hit this thing and correct for where this new ammo type that we're shooting this time is now. So I think we're going to be shooting some brass IAAC ammo. I believe it's 115 grain, but again, we're running about every type of cheap ammo you can find through this thing today. I'll do one more mag. I think I was 3 for 12 there. Really close on the other ones, just off to the right or left, but we did get 3 hits, so let's give it another shot. One more mag. Well, only got 1 clean hit there. I think I actually had 2. It swang, maybe a third one. 1 clean hit, but probably a little more practice. We get better with it, but that's where we're at for now. Give it some more shooting, and you'll get better. So not too much else to say about the old Taurus G2c. I've actually really enjoyed this gun. I thought it was going to be just something to plink with and mess around with out in the woods at the price point it was at. But I've been pleasantly surprised with this gun. Really enjoyed shooting it. It's controllable. Trigger's not too bad in it for what it is. There's a certain amount of creep and a certain amount of mushiness, but nothing you can't really deal with. I mean, it's not a competition pistol by any means. Haven't looked into any of the aftermarket triggers. On some of these guns that I carry often, don't like to mess with the trigger too much, just keep them the way they are. I would recommend upgrading the sights if you have a G2c. The plastic sights are absolutely horrible. I think I mentioned that earlier, but they move around, they're loose, they don't stay in one spot. With just a simple sight upgrade, I think it can be a great gun. If you like to tinker more, go ahead and get the Lakeline or check them out. I really like their barrel. I also have their stainless steel guide rod in here, both of which I think are very valuable upgrades to this gun. So don't be afraid to go out and get one. I know Taurus's quality can differ in between guns, but this one's been great. Other folks I know that have G3Cs have really enjoyed them, so I'd go ahead and give it a shot.